The second running back drafted in the 2025 NFL draft is going to be TreVeyon Henderson. We're going to talk about him today, the running back out of Ohio State. I am Cody Carpentier with the Draft Rankings Show every single morning, 7 a.m. Eastern Time on YouTube and on podcast. If you're on podcast and you're getting this from the Player Profiler football feed, make sure you go over to the Draft Rankings podcast feed because it comes out at 7 a.m. instead of 7 p.m. over there. And if you're on YouTube, please click that like button. Please click subscribe. I wanted to do a solo show this morning, Monday morning. Again, we're within 40 days of the 2025 NFL draft on TreVeyon Henderson because my NFL mock draft, 4 full rounds came out last week on Friday at rosterwatch.com. And I had TreVeyon Henderson as the second running back off the board in my mock. Ashton Jeanty went off in the top 12. And the second running back I have coming off the board was pick 20, the Denver Broncos, TreVeyon Henderson. The Denver Broncos have told us that they wanted to go after get a joker. They want to get this piece in their offense that is a joker that can do multiple things. And everyone has kind of inferred that to be a tight end. I've inferred that to be a tight end or a running back. Coming in to the free agent period, it was, all right, they're going to get Colston Loveland or TreVeyon Henderson. That's where my brain goes, given the historical context of what Sean Payton has done in New Orleans. In free agency, they go out and they pay Evan Ingram, the tight end that formerly played for the Giants and the Jags, 2 years, more than $20 million. Evan Ingram signs with the Denver Broncos. That tells me they're not going to use that 20th overall selection on Colston Loveland. So, naturally, my progression goes towards running back, a place they've not fulfilled anything. They've drafted on offensive line. I think they like the weaponry on the outside with Cortland Sutton. They like Marvin Mims, Troy Franklin. They like Devon Vele. They like their receiving core. It's competent. They like Evan Ingram. They don't obviously like the backfield. Javonte Williams walks in free agency, goes to Dallas. They're not the biggest fans of Jaleel McLaughlin, of Audric Estime, of Blake Watson, of Tyler Beatty. They put them in the same bucket. When I asked Sean Payton at the NFL Combine, what do you think of Audric Estime and Blake Watson? He's like, well, I kind of put them in the same category as McLaughlin and Tyler Beatty. They did a lot of good things for us last year. That's not exactly the words I wanted to hear. It actually, sort of, it kind of is. I wanted to hear him say something that was going to give me a direction when thinking about what selection they may go for. They signed Evan Ingram. They let Javonte walk, which we knew. Who will be the back that enters week 1 as a starting running back for the Denver Broncos? I believe it will be TreVeyon Henderson. TreVeyon Henderson, who measured in at 5'10", 202 pounds at the NFL Combine, 30 3/4 inch arms, 9.5 inch hands. He runs a 4.4 340, which for TreVeyon Henderson, the back out of Ohio State, is an 80th percentile speed score, 91st percentile burst score, 43rd percentile college dominated, 20%. When you look at TreVeyon Henderson, he had the 18.86 breakout age, which is the second youngest behind his teammate Quinshon Judkins, 18.84. When I look at Quinshon Judkins, I think of Alvin Kamara. When I think of TreVeyon Henderson, I think of something a little more, it's going to be weird phrasing here, but a little more versatile, right? And Kamara is rather versatile. And the reason that I say that in this context is the body types are different. TreVeyon Henderson is 20 pounds lighter than Quinshon. He's 20 pounds lighter than, or 15 pounds lighter than Kamara was. He's got the dynamo speed, though. The thing that Henderson has that Kamara and Quinshon Judkins don't have is pass protection. Like Kamara, he's got the hands, unlike Quinshon Judkins, the elite pass catching ability. Quinshon can catch passes out of the backfield, but not to the level of TreVeyon. Pass protection, something Quinshon can't do quite as well as TreVeyon. And like I said, that long dynamo 4.43 speed. I know Quinshon Judkins tested out of the building at the NFL Combine, but not quite to this level. TreVeyon Henderson at the NFL Combine also had a 1.52 third best, 1.52 10-yard split, 38.5-inch vertical, 10'8" broad jump. Think, I don't know, I kind of have like a Dobbins. I have like a Ray Rice. I have a Aaron Jones, McCaffrey. Like that is the range of outcomes for TreVeyon Henderson. People keep asking, who's your running back 2? Who's your running back 3? Who's this? Who's that? I've had this conversation with a multitude of people that I really respect in the space, and I've basically said it doesn't matter who your running back 2 is, or your 3, or your 4, as long as you have the right top 4. And to me, the right top 4 is Genty, Omarion Hampton, Quinshon Judkins, and TreVeyon Henderson. Whatever order you have them in is whatever order you have them in. Those 4 guys, I think, pose the biggest threat, the biggest ability to being true RB1s, not only in this class, but at any given season. You could really rationalize if you took a step back and someone told you, hey man, I'm from the future. I'm from 365 days from now. I'm from 730 days from now. Guess what? What? Quinshon Judkins, running back 1 in 2026. Guess what? TreVeyon Henderson, running back 1. I'm talking overall in fantasy football. TreVeyon Henderson, running back 1 overall. Could you see it? I could. The ranking in this matter, the draft ranking, doesn't matter for these 4 guys. These are the top 4 guys. That's what matters. People are going to have their Caleb Johnson takes. They'll have their, cockamamie, DJ Gidden takes. RJ Harvey. I love RJ Harvey, but come on. This 4 guys are the real 4 guys. And TreVeyon Henderson is one that through the last couple of seasons has been the top of the food chain. He should have came out last year, would have been the first running back drafted ahead of Jonathan Brooks. Instead, he stays back. He's the one senior in this top 4. Quinshon's a junior with 3,000-yard seasons. Omarion's a junior with 2,000-yard seasons. And Genty's a junior with 2,000-yard seasons. One could argue TreVeyon hurt his stock returning to Ohio State to split the backfield with Quinshon Judkins. And I said TreVeyon had one 1,000-yard season. He did have 2. The freshman season, he had 1,200 yards as well. TreVeyon Henderson is the definition of what you want in a back in the NFL right now. Don't get me wrong, I love the 220-pound grinders that can catch the ball in the backfield. And that's what Hampton and that's what Judkins are. Genty's undersized. Let's be honest with ourselves. 5'8", 211 with sub 30-inch arms. Didn't run. There's flags there. Nobody wants to admit that there's flags in the Genty profile, but there's flags there. I'm not going to run here and call him a bust because he's not. But there's flags in that profile. The guy in the top 4 with the least flags in his profile is the running back that's a senior coming out of Ohio State, and he weighs the least of these 4 top guys. But he's the best pass protector. He's the biggest dynamo out of the backfield. He's got the best hands. He's the most mature. And he's a national champion, and his name is TreVeyon Henderson.